There is a website that says that Senator Rand Paul is asking for the immediate removal of the dictator in chief Fauci from the NIAID. And I just love Rand Paul. Do you not wish in Canada that we had somebody like Rand Paul? I mean, in a way, we we've got some MPs that speak out, but mostly they just feel and seem to be cowards. I am so tired of cowards. Canada is falling every day because of cowards, and we need to call these. Where's the person? I guess it was Derek Sloan who called out Dr. Theresa Tam. Our Anthony Fauci would be Dr. Theresa Tam, and she is as corrupt and evil as Anthony Fauci. And I would like someone to go after her again, the way that Derek Sloan being the only one that would call her up. Well, what happened to Derek Sloan? Oh, rejected. By who? The Liberals? No, by the Conservatives. Before we bring our guest on, let's look at this clip where Anthony Fauci talks about natural immunity, something being ignored worldwide. But he alludes to a study in Israel. So if you want to pull that up there, Aaron, I think that it is a huge mistake to not be including natural immunity in the reason that you would be free to cross borders or do whatever. But ultimately, the reason that we should be free to do whatever we want to do should actually be because sovereign beings, and no one should be able to tell us where to go, how to live, or what to put in our bodies. Nonetheless, I love this brief discussion by Rand Paul.
We're with an Israeli study that had 2.5 million patients and found that the vaccinated group was actually 7 times more likely to get infected with COVID than the people who had gotten COVID naturally.
Senator, I'd have to get back to you on that one. I'm not familiar with that study.
Well, you think you might want to be if you're going to travel the country insulting the millions of Americans, including NBA star Jonathan Isaac, who have had COVID, recovered, look at a study with 2.5 million people and say, well, you know what? It looks like my immunity is as good as a vaccine or not. And in a free country, maybe I ought to be able to make that decision. Instead, you've chosen to travel the country calling people like Jonathan Isaac and others, myself included, flat earthers. We find that very insulting, goes against the science. Are you a doctor or a medical doctor?
I've worked over 30 years on health policy.
You're not a medical doctor. Do you have a science degree? And yet you travel the country calling people flat earthers who have had COVID, looked at studies of millions of people, and made their own personal decision that their immunity they naturally acquired is sufficient. But you presume somehow to tell over 100 million Americans who have survived COVID that we have no right to determine our own medical care. You alone are on high, and you've made these decisions, a lawyer with no scientific background, no medical degree. This is an arrogance coupled with an authoritarianism that is unseemly and un-American. You, sir, are the one ignoring the science. The vast preponderance of scientific studies, dozens and dozens, show robust, long-lasting immunity after COVID infection. Even the CDC does not recommend measles vaccine if you have measles immunity. The same was true for smallpox. But you ignore history and science to shame the flat earthers, as you call them. You should be ashamed of yourself and apologize to the American people for being dishonest about naturally acquired immunity.